Did you go into like the company with an idea of just using word of mouth?
No, we just didn't have any money. So
Okay, yeah.
we had to.
So you had to. yeah. But it paid off in America.
Yeah,
How long did that take?
It took, it took quite a while in a sense that we were always growing, but to get to where we are now, it took, I guess, 4 or 5 years to get to, now I think we're sort of, quite big and doesn't grow at that speed anymore.
Yeah.
But for 4 or 5 years, it sort of was a steady growth. It never sort of just, wasn't like a hockey stick. Except during the pandemic. But that was,
what was that like? When the pandemic was starting, did you anticipate that it was going to be such a big boom? Did you prepare for it?
I think, no, we didn't. But then we saw it right away. So because I think schools were hit like right away, right? So
especially in America.
Yeah,
they shut pretty
everywhere,
quick.
I think. Yeah. So it was literally like, normally for like a 10% bump, it'll take many months.
Yeah.
And this would be like 200% in a week because the government there would institute the lockdown.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy. The next, in fact, like the biggest spike could be like the day after that. So it'd be like 5,000% in one day.
Did you have any issues with service or anything?
Thankfully, a lot of that was built in a way that could scale well.
Yeah, okay.
So we didn't really have any downtimes and all of that.
That's impressive, really.
Yeah, that was fortunate for us. Yeah. I think,
So, what? I guess my first main question is: can you give us a brief history of Quizizz? Because I actually don't know it.
Yeah. So Quizizz officially started in 2015, but really I think we started our journey in 2013 when me and my co-founder quit our jobs, and we decided to work in this space of EdTech because we were not, not so long ago we were students, around a year and a half before we were, we just completed our college degrees and in engineering. So, at that time I was volunteering as a teacher on the weekends, and I could see that, there wasn't much in terms of platforms for teachers to really engage their students in the classroom. So, I think we hadn't really thought it, through. I don't think we knew what we were getting into. But we at least knew this much, that if we build something, it'll probably be useful to people. It's not like it's a very crowded space where there's no need to build anything more, right? Like at the same time, like there was Gmail, there was Facebook, social media, YouTube. Looking at those things, I probably felt I don't think I can even make something as good as that. Let alone be better.
It's a big deal trying to be better than YouTube. You could be different though. Which is what you guys are.
And with Quizizz though, we felt like there was a real opportunity to just be better than what was out there. And so that's kind of how. And I think the first product we built was actually quite different from Quizizz. It was a maths learning game called World, where you would walk around this world attacking monsters and solving questions in the process.
Is it still a thing?
No, it's been, we couldn't really maintain it in those days.
Fair enough.
There were just two of us.
Is there any footage of it?
There is, there are some videos. We made our, tutorials on
cool.
YouTube.
That's really cool.
So, but I think the big struggle we had with World was that we had to make all the content in these games as well. So it took us more than a year to make content that would, a student would run through it in 2 weeks if they were really engaged. And then, of course, they couldn't do anything more, so they had to drop off. And we actually built World, working with a school in Bangalore, where we started and still have most of our development team. So we would just go there every week, show the kids what we were building. Very clear feedback if they liked it or didn't like it. And that taught us a lot because we'd never built games, we'd never built for educators, we'd never done any of that. So I think 6 months of sort of doing that was a great sort of boot camp for us.
I bet. What was your job before?
I was a software engineer at Amazon.
Oh, okay. Cool. Mad. So you've been in Australia now for like 5 days, roughly? And you've been into Australian schools, mine included. What's your biggest, observations or like takeaways from Australian schools? What have you like kind of seen?
Yeah, I think what I found really interesting was that the classrooms are really interactive, right? So teachers are always having a conversation with the students, and that was really nice to see, right? Even when we would step in for 10-15 minutes, the teachers would just kick up a quick conversation about feedback about quizzes if they'd seen it, or if they hadn't also, right? And it was nice to see the kids being able to just respond and give intelligent answers and think on their feet in that way, which is what you normally need to do in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really great seeing that. It's not something I see everywhere. So
Did you see any difference within the Australian schools? Like, you went to our school, you went to a few Brisbane ones. Is there much difference, or is it all similar vibe?
I think it did feel different, but it'd be hard for me to sort of categorize. But each school did feel a little different. The schools which were like right in the middle of the city, just from the the way the school is set up, right? It's maybe a smaller land area. It's a lot more indoors, and versus your school, huge campus, and I think that just gave a different vibe to it. I don't know how that plays out though.
Did they have different like usage levels of tech? Like our school, every kid has a iPad or computer. Do other schools similar to that, or was there?
I saw many of them. Most of them did seem to have a device with the students, but many of them didn't have it out. When we were visiting. So, but I did get a sense that most of them had devices, and it was interesting. I actually, now that you mention it, like I went to this one classroom where they were, doing this quiz, and then as the kids who got done, they were allowed to play games after that. So then they were just like ready for it. As soon as they were done, there was like 2 seconds and it's open. And at first I was like, does the teacher know that they're doing this? And then I realized that they know, and maybe it's allowed.
It's planned. It's a reward. Well, Australian kids, they do love gaming. And I suppose that's a nice segue into Quizizz, because Quizizz is like a gamified version. If anyone doesn't know what Quizizz is, it's like it's a quiz, but it's more gamified. It's just more enjoyable. There's colours, there's images, there's like, I'll let you talk about some of the features, but like what makes Quizizz not only different but better, in my opinion anyway, unsponsored by the way, what makes it different and better than other quiz-based apps, in your opinion?
So I think, in terms of what's different about Quizizz, I think what we've always focused on, one is we've really taken teacher feedback to heart. So I think we're always interacting with teachers, always trying to act on the feedback given. It's one thing to get feedback
and use it,
but using it is another, and it's difficult sometimes because you hear different things, and how do you accommodate different people's needs. And I think that's what we're always working on, is how to make it very easy for a teacher to pick up and fit into their workflow, versus us trying to build something that a teacher has to work around. So I think in terms of saving them time, fulfilling their objectives, all of that, right? We try to do it in a way that they don't need to think too much, hopefully.
Definitely.
The other piece, I think, is on the whole gamification and the fun side is, again, I think our flavor of that is engagement with rigor, right? So how do we make it really fun? Because there's no reason for learning to be boring, right?
That's right.
But learning is also difficult. It's not easy.
If it is, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. So it's about sort of putting those two things together. So how do you make a difficult thing a little more palatable, a little more, achievable for a student, right? So that's, I think, what you'll see in a lot of our game, dynamics is, having enough fun to keep students,
engaged.
Like willing to use it. And engaged, right? And having a good time. But also that the dynamics push them a little to, say, get a question right, or when they get it wrong, pay attention to what the right answer was, right? Or, and that's where all the dynamics are around, repeat the questions that you get wrong, take your time while answering them.
Yep.
It being student-based, all of those I think play together to, create that sort of environment.
Yeah, and the teachers have great customization of those options too.
Yeah.
I found you can use it as a summative tool in terms of like, I want to actually just check what they know and what they don't know.
Yeah.
And you can turn off things like repeating questions and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But it's also probably better, in my opinion, as a formative tool where halfway through a unit of work you can get the students to have a go, and throughout it, as Deepak was just saying, if you get a question wrong, you can just try again at the end, or you get a redemption question, or if the student gets it wrong, you can put in a explanation of what the right answer is and why it is the right answer. Like, it's just essentially, it's a really great hybrid of quizzing for feedback for teacher and for student. They get an opportunity to actually learn while doing it, rather than just right or wrong.
Yeah.
And all of that's customization. So I really like that aspect. Hey,
A bit lost. Do you
that's
know
all right.
Google and Microsoft are?
I think Microsoft's that way, like past number one and then to the right.
Oh,
Google, I'm not certain, sorry.
They probably are.
Yeah, and it's just really customizable. On the topic of that you were saying, your first point, if I can recall what that point
The
was.
intuitiveness or the just fitting into a teacher's workflow.
Fitting into a teacher's workflow. What if a teacher wants to use Quizizz? I've found it's very intuitive to use, but I always grown up with technology. I love technology, so I'm fluent with most technologies. If a teacher's not, what do you recommend that they do to like learn how to use it effectively to save themselves time?
Yeah, so I think one is that we have a great support team. So oftentimes you'll find them on chat. So that's one great way. But in case they aren't, you can also, what we try to do is keep it very easy to use. So what I'd encourage people to do is just look for it. It shouldn't be so hard to find. So trust is there a little bit. Because often I feel like if it's there, but if you don't, it may be just one click away. And I always tell this to a lot of people who aren't very savvy with technology. The best way is just click the buttons, see what happens. Nothing's gonna really go wrong.
No, exactly.
You don't worry about deleting your library by mistake or doing anything. It's all built assuming that somebody might click the wrong button, and we can always help you fix those things. So that is my foremost advice. Is just play with it. Be like your students. And mess things up a little.
Well, learning is messy, so that's good.
But we do have, so again, there's always this help button at the bottom right corner or left, depending on which page you're on. But if you click that, it has a bunch of help articles, so you can just type what you're looking for. It'll either suggest a help article or give you an option to chat with one of our support team associates, or send a ticket to which you'll get a reply.
They'll sort you out.
And we also have, if you Google Quizizz University, there's a whole wealth of PD materials, quick videos. And another great thing is that we have great educators like yourself, Mark, who are creating videos about quizzes. So if you just go to YouTube and look for something.
YouTube. Click the link on the screen right now.
Yes. And just search for what you're looking for. Chances are you'll get something.
It'll be on YouTube. We'll wrap up shortly, but we're here at EduTech, the conference for education and technology. Being a software developer and having your own products and then looking at all the other ones, is there any big takeaways you've had so far? Anything interesting?
So I think it was a pleasure just roaming around the expo hall, meeting a bunch of other companies that some we'd heard of, some we hadn't, seeing what they're building, a lot of cool stuff being done all over the place. And I think it would be really great in EdTech if companies could work together, right? Because teachers have to, they find something good on one, something good on another. There was a way that they could, get that value. These tools could integrate or support each other. So I think that was one of my takeaways in terms of what can we do to enable that. Quizizz has a lot of users, has a great distribution across the world, and how can we help our teachers and by sort of providing a better solution, partnering with others.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, that sounds very exciting. As a teacher, like it just the more things that work well together and synergize, the better.
Yeah, it's such a time waste, right? When you have to, just redo it somewhere else because there's something that thing does really well.
Yeah.
But it's maybe 80%
Yeah.
the same, or
Yeah, I think that's the best part about EdTech is that it's great tools for teachers and all that sort of thing, but most of the companies, I'm listening to Simon Sinek. Do you know Simon Sinek? Yeah. I'm listening to his book Start With Why at the moment. Yeah. And a lot of companies feel it's very superficial and just like there for profits or whatever, but most EdTech companies clearly have a strong why of help teachers, help students.
Yeah.
And that's more or less it. And it definitely manifests in the tools we get and the support we get from all these EdTech companies, including Quizizz. It's just really awesome to see. This is a terrible segue. There's no segue, but AI tools are all the rage at the moment. EdTechs, everyone's talking about AI. Are there AI tools in Quizizz? Are they coming? What's the plan?
Yeah, so if somebody is watching this video and you're interested, tell them that Mark sent you to Quizizz, and we'll set you up with early access to our
awesome.
Beta version. It's not released to the general public right now, but we are releasing it to certain schools. We plan to do it with Southport as well.
Yep.
And because we're still fine-tuning the technology.
Yep.
But there is, as you had a chance to see the other day, we are working on a lot of things on one front in terms of making it easier to create and customize content. So Quizizz has a huge library, but how can you even save that time you need to tweak it to your specific need that day, right? So raising, maybe the difficulty level of a question, changing the theme, the format of the question, a lot of these things which might have taken 10, 15, 20 minutes, now you can do it with AI. And I think our flavor on AI is we're seeing a lot of places where it's like, oh, just give us a topic and we'll make it all for you.
Yep.
I don't think it's quite ready for that, and if you actually look at what gets made after that,
it's not great.
It's usually not usable with your students right away. It's great compared to what you could do before, but I think we've seen most teachers finding the quizzes made by other teachers a lot more useful.
Yep.
And so what we're trying to, of course, you can do what I talked about before, give a topic and kind of get that, first pass at it. But what we're finding more useful is giving teachers the ability to customize what's already there. And also make it easy for them now with AI to say import like a Word document, which earlier just wouldn't work, right?
Yeah.
But now AI can figure out which is a question, what's like just the footer of the page, and almost make a perfect version of what you would have to do. Again, it takes 20-30 minutes to type in 20 questions from a printout or something like that. So a lot of those kind of applications, and we're listening to teachers and trying to see what to do next. The other side is on insights into student performance, right? So again, of course, you have a variety of reports on Quizizz and a lot of tools and LMSs and all of this. But again, it's with the AI now, you can sort of get a longitudinal view, right? Like, how is this student been doing across the last 15 activities they did? What's the class struggling with? It seems like based on multiple reports that you've generated. So I think a lot of that, which again would have, it's quite a task to sort of aggregate all of that and pull out that insight. So I think those sort of things are also in the works.
Yeah, awesome. Well, a lot of the, like you're talking about with the connecting with other EdTech companies and trying to make just the best products that work together. We went to yesterday a Microsoft section which talked about Copilot, which is a really exciting tool. Did you go to that one at all?
I haven't been to that one, but I've used Copilot.
Yeah, okay, great. It seems really good. And from my experience using Quizizz, you can get the reports as PDFs, or you can also get them as Excel spreadsheets. And with Copilot, one of the things we saw yesterday was the ability to just question the AI about the spreadsheet you got. So that'll be even stronger if you've got 15 different quizzes and all the students have answered questions and all the questions have different strengths and weaknesses. We can just, with Copilot, right inside, question and say, which questions do I need to focus on reteaching or whatever. So that might be a nice segue to a video I haven't made yet, but maybe one day I will, about Copilot. So if I have made it, it's on the screen now. But Deepak, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank
Welcome,
you.
and good to see you.
Yep.
Awesome. Oh, I wasn't recording. No, I'm just kidding.
That would